I love doing these trailer videos because trailers have always been something that I'm like really, they always entice me. And I think it goes back to just that want to always make it on time to the movie theater to see like 6 or 7 trailers before the movie even starts. So because of that feeling, I'm always looking at trailers. My wife's kind of different. She doesn't like trailers, so I'm usually watching them on my own. And as I've stated in previous reaction videos, there's a bunch I'm trying to catch up on that I've been avoiding, and I'm going to be releasing those over the next few days as best as I can, probably in one big video or as single videos if it makes sense. So for example, this was released earlier today, I want to say 12 hours ago based on when I'm recording, and I don't 100% know exactly where this one is going. So it's meant to be a prequel to the It storyline, and it's set in the same universe as the recent It movies, It Chapters 1 and 2, but I don't think there's ever been anything for that. I believe It is just the one novel, and granted, it's a very large novel. And maybe if the prequel involves some of the stuff that they go into as far as the history in that novel is concerned, maybe that would make sense. But I really don't know where this is pulling any sort of material from. And if it's something that's fresh and new, I'm kind of on board for that. I didn't 100% look into where this was coming from. All I know is that they're trying to, I guess, pull in off the popularity, but it feels a few years too late. I don't know exactly what to expect from this trailer, so I am looking forward to sitting with it. Oh, and by the way, one of the toughest things about doing videos like this, I don't know if any other creators have to deal with this kind of crap, but the last 3 or 4 videos I've uploaded, they've all been kind of demonetized because of some copyright bullshit. I don't get it. You know, I'm not the only channel that's doing this. I'm nowhere near anything unique. It's just my personality that makes these different and my opinions that might make these different. But, you know, I guess I'm not going to get paid for those. But either way, I actually don't 100% mind because I still like doing them. So even if they're going to get flagged and I'm not going to get monetized for them, I'm going to still do them and I'll fight and I'll try to get where YouTube actually recognizes it as legitimately being okay. Because I know for a fact that all the channels that are strictly just this thing, and that's the thing, I'm not a unique channel to reactions, and it's not the only thing my channel does. And there are channels that do nothing but reactions, and I doubt they have to go through as many hoops as I feel like I have to sometimes. I mean, it just might be that I'm small potatoes and I'm just unlucky, but, you know, it is what it is. I just figured I'd share that with you to you guys know a little bit about what goes on in the background for me as far as a content creator, and anybody who's been around for a while knows how hard it is for me to push out content, and shit like that can kind of get a little disheartening to really want to do it. But I think it's more the passion I have for what it is I'm reacting to, because most of the things I'm reacting to in these videos is trailers, and I love trailers so much, so I'm going to keep making the videos regardless if they get monetized or not. But it's just annoying, you know, it really puts a damper on the creator aspect of YouTube.
You poor thing. Get in before you catch your death of cold.
Now you just tell us where home is, and we'll get you back to your parents safe and sound, okay?
Anywhere but Derry.
Things that happened in the past.
My family and I just moved to town.
Dad!
Oh!
Hey, baby.
Happened in your mind.
Today was 4 months, and they never even found a body. That makes
I
murder.
think I get it.
This business with the missing kids. Do I need to be concerned?
Oh, this
Never a
guy.
bad idea to keep the people you love close.
No adult's ever gonna believe what we saw. I wouldn't.
There's a history of stuff like this happening in Derry.
You kids keep your noses out of police business.
I heard voices. In the pipes.
Have you ever heard of something like that?
There's something bad here in Derry.
just in your head.
Are they just doing the original book? What? This doesn't make any sense. It looks like they're just doing what the actual book is about. Like, the book is about... If I remember correctly, and I read it a long time ago, and it was a long book. It took me a while to read it based on the pace of how I read these days. The book takes place in the 60s, and the kids are all grown up in the 80s. And that's the reason why the original TV 2-part movie series is in that format, because all the original murders take place in the 50s or 60s. 30 years pass and it's the 80s, and they're beating Pennywise again. It looks like they're doing this again. From what I recall in the novel, it's not much of a huge deep dive into the backstory, unless you consider what they do as far as research is concerned to learn where all the missing children lore derives from. That just feels like they're redoing the same story, just it's actually novel accurate. Hold on a second. Where's the Wikipedia? Based on Stephen King's 1997 novel It, and is serving as a prequel to the films It and It Chapter 2. The series was developed by Andy... I'm never going to pronounce that last name correctly. And I guess his wife, all of whom were involved in the films. The series is scheduled production 2025 for 9 episodes. Previously stream. I don't have any about... What about the IMDb? Does that tell me? It will follow the events of the 1960s, the time leading up to the events of the first film in the Stephen King series. But here's the thing. If it's based on the first film in the Stephen King series, which is It Chapter 1 from 2017, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that takes place in 1988. Yeah, so if that takes place in 1988, it's meant to lean up 27 years later to 2017. So that makes sense. But if this one takes place in the 1960s, it's meant to lean up to 19... How are they also making the assumption that there's this thing where it's happened in Derry before in both scenarios, and yet are they also going to make these kids do something? Because as far as I know, they don't bring those characters in on the next one. So either it's leading into this idea of the prequel where all of these kids are going to die and nobody survives, because then otherwise it wouldn't make any sense. Because then a whole new group of kids in 1988 comes in, if it's meant to take place in the same universe. I don't get this. I could be wrong, and maybe I'm just reading it the wrong way, and I'm just taking this in the wrong way, but this is my genuine reaction. I don't understand where this is meant to fit in to anything. I'm not sure. I'm still going to check it out when it comes out, but that just seems very convoluted. If it's confusing me, I guarantee you there's more people out there that this is confusing to. Unless you're just watching it with blind faith and just enjoying the fact that there's more Pennywise content. But as a person who really did love that 90s movie with Tim Curry, and as a person who really appreciated the new series, and as a person who went out of their way to read that 600-page novel in between the first two movies to really get a better understanding, because I had never read it before until a couple of years ago, so it's a tough thing to pick up and read when you feel that dauntingness of reading pages after pages after pages, and it just feels like it's never ending. And it's one of the longest books that I've ever experienced reading before. And I think it's one of Stephen King's longest books ever. And making it 2 movies makes sense. Making it a 2-hour special when they did it in the 90s, that I believe led up to about 3.5 hours by itself, makes sense. This doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand what this is meant to do. I don't understand what this is for. And if I'm alone in that, I'll be alone in that. And maybe when it finally comes out, it'll answer all of these questions for me. But as of right now, I don't know exactly what this is for and where this is going. I mean, it looks good. I guess it has that going for itself, I guess. If you made it this far, you are awesome. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it and let YouTube know I'm doing a good job. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and check out the other videos in the studio. All of this helps support me and the channel, so it is very appreciated. Whether you're new or returning, thanks for watching. Cheers.